Magical Cat Band plays tropical cumbia for us.
So it's a rainy afternoon here in the Amazon rainforest. I am in Ecuador.
Amazing.
And my conversation today is with Josué Campos. Hola, Josué.
Hola.
Welcome to my podcast.
Thank you. Gracias.
Yeah. Do you speak Spanish?
Very little.
Very little.
But I can read it and sing it.
Yeah, but I think it's a very cool combination because, I live here in the jungle and your music is very tropical, tropical vibes. I love cumbia. So when I discovered you and your music and I saw your videos, I thought this is really cool. So how long have you been making music?
Oh, wow. I've been making music for over 30 years at this point.
Yeah, wow.
As far as actual releases, maybe 25. But
yeah, because you have played it like in you have had a lot of projects, right?
Yes. Styles over the years, yes.
Yeah, different genres, also no different styles.
Mm-hmm.
And C.A.M.P.O.S, that's, so to say, your latest project, right?
That's one of my more recent ones, yeah. Cumbia, more psychedelic original sounds.
Psychedelic, cumbia, absolutely. And I love it. So when did you, or what was your first taste of cumbia music? When did it all start with cumbia?
I would say probably Vallenato.
Mm-hmm.
Be the first time I heard cumbias, that style in that region, and it was probably I worked for right after college. I worked for Hohner, which is a company that makes accordions and harmonicas.
Yeah, I know.
Company, but they have a distribution area in my hometown, which is Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I think through that I was repairing accordions and a lot of those Hohner, like the Corona Dos and the Corona Tres, what do you call them? Models, accordion models I would work on, and through that I got to meet musicians and players, and that was the beginning. But I wasn't even thinking about playing it. I was like, I love this music, but Virginia, that's not what we do in Virginia. So I wasn't even thinking that way yet. That came later.
That's really cool. And how many instruments do you play? Because I saw you play a lot of instruments, right?
I do over the years. I mean, my training is piano, classical.
Yeah.
So anything with a keyboard, I'm pretty good at. And then I picked up accordion a little later. But I play a little bit of guitar and bass and some percussion and different things over the years. I would say what I do the best though is probably accordion and piano. That's
accordion. Yeah.
Have the most training on.
And when did you start shooting all those crazy psychedelic videos? Because that was actually how I found you. I think it was on Instagram, and I saw this video with very psychedelic sounds, and I think this is so cool. I haven't heard anything like this in a long time.
I mean, that's all recent. That's all during lockdown when we were all stuck in our our rooms.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to play, and so it was just sort of like a lot of artists, we have come up with whatever. Desperation is inspiration, right? So
yeah,
I started making videos and performing in front of green screen live, and
it's a green screen, huh? That's what I wanted to, because I also like making videos and stuff, and I was wondering how do you make all those crazy effects.
I learned all that. I had no idea. I'm still learning. I'm still not
great
at it, but it's a fun journey.
Yeah, nice. And that's your little home studio. I'm checking your Instagram photos right now.
That's right.
Instagram posts.
That's what I'm talking to you from. Is
How many synthesizers? Can we talk about your instruments, like synths and stuff?
I like that we're just going through all my gear. I love.
Oh yeah. I love talking about those details. the geeky details of making music. Mm-hmm.
Well, the primary instrument for this style of cumbia, the psychedelic that I do is Electrovox. It was made by Hohner.
The Electrovox.
Basically, like a farfisa organ,
made
early 60s, but you play it like an accordion. So it was
Yeah.
probably made for all those accordion players.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love that sound. It's just so
Yeah.
cool. Mm-hmm.
So that was the beginning of at least this journey with the cumbia,
Uh-huh.
and from there I have, let's see, I have a, bass station Novation, which is like a little 2 octave monophonic synth
Uh-huh.
that I use a
Uh-huh.
lot live and in the studio. I have a Dave Smith Instruments, which was
Mm-hmm.
sequential circuits back in the 70s. So I have 2 of their monophonic modules, the Dave Smith monophonic synthesizers. Let's see, what else do I have?
Mm-hmm.
I just during the pandemic got a little into the modular world of
Mm-hmm.
modular synths, but I'm still like not a whole lot of the recordings have that yet. That'll be the next adventure.
All right. Okay. All
I have
right.
a few of these. They started making these. What's the company? Behringer started making some of the like a more affordable versions of these modular synths.
Mm-hmm.
I have one that's similar to the classic Moog, the Mini Moog. I have one that's kind of close to the what was that called? The Wasp. It's kind of a weird synth from the 70s. A lot of those
Mm-hmm.
British post-punk bands used it.
Oh, what was the name of it again?
Wasp,
The
W-A-S.
Wasp. Oh.
I forgot the name of the company that made it originally, but Behringer reissued it, and
Uh-huh.
yeah, for fun to mess around with. And then what else did I get kind of recently? I'm blanking on. Oh, Cat. It was another one of these obscure companies from the 70s, CAT, Cat,
Uh-huh. Cat.
which is sort of a duophonic modular synth. And
Uh-huh.
all those are kind of new. So I would say most of the sounds you're hearing are the Novation and the Dave Smith. And and I can't forget, their Yamaha has put out this amazing little reissue called the Reface,
Uh-huh.
the series of little keyboards, Reface series, which I love. And each one is there's one that's a little bit like a Moog. There's one that's like a DX7, Yamaha DX7 from back in the day, and there's another
Mm-hmm.
one, basically like a Rhodes piano. But I have the Reface YC, which is a lot of the classic transistor organs from the 60s. So the Yamaha sound, the
Mm-hmm.
Farfisa sound, the Vox sound, Hammond as well, and also Ace Tone, which was a Japanese
Mm-hmm.
transistor company that eventually became Roland. And so that I use
Nice.
a lot these days. I really love that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of those great vintage, sort of overdriven transistor
Yeah.
organ sounds that I really like. That is
Yeah.
very similar to the original Electrovox I have. That's actually from the 60s.
Very cool. Very nice. And we can hear all those sounds in your latest releases, right? Which is Shake Up the World, huh?
That's the
Live in the studio.
all of these Shake Up the World volumes 1 and 2 were all done during lockdown.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Unbelievable. And you are working with Peace and Rhythm is the label, right?
That's right. Peace and Rhythm. It's a great label based in
Mm-hmm.
Northampton, Massachusetts, and I recommend everyone check out their
Yeah.
website and their releases. They're
Mm-hmm.
vinyl only, but well, it's not true. They just started to jump into the digital
Mm-hmm.
world, but their focus is on vinyl releases, and they were very generous to when I sent them some of my music, were really excited and wanted to
Cool.
my first record, which was called Miracles and Criminals. That was maybe
Yeah.
2016 release.
Yeah. And do you know?
There was the second, a follow up to that studio record will come out hopefully in the spring of 2022.
Spring. All
Yes.
right. Really looking forward to it. Are you friends with the people also there, like DJ Bongo Head, Pablo Iglesias? No, I like him.
Pablo Iglesias is his name.
He's one of the founders, I think, of the
absolutely.
label.
He and there's Studebaker Hawk is the other DJ, and
Uh-huh.
Justin, and there's a few other, but they're all music fans. They're DJs. They love
Yeah.
tropical music. They're and and Pablo does a lot. He's a great graphic designer. A lot of the
Mhm.
visual style of
Nice.
is his own visual style, and yeah, it's a really cool, very
Label.
curated label. And
Yeah. I love it. And they have a lot of artists also. Like I
Absolutely,
guess
yeah.
Kokolo Afrobeat Orchestra. I think I discovered that band back in 2010 or something. I think they were playing for a long time already.
Yeah, and even some Mariachi Flor de Toloachi, like one of their first singles, I think, was on Peace and Rhythm. Yeah, they've really interesting, and they kind of touch on a lot of different scenes within, at least within up here in the Estados Unidos, a lot
Hmm.
of different scenes up here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they all live in New York, I guess, right?
A lot of the
So
bands, yeah, I think they do some releases with people based in Miami and West Coast too. But mostly, yeah, I think I mean because they're based in Massachusetts, there's a lot of us around this area, the northeast of the states that we've connected with him and his label.
and now Loco Beach. What
Yes.
exactly is that?
So Local Beach is so maybe I should go, like back up a little bit in my sort of cumbia journey. So
Okay, yeah.
I kind of went from being sort of on the admirer of a lot of these styles that I was hearing through my job working, with
Hmm.
the accordions that are played in a lot of these styles, to moving to New York.
Hmm.
Where I'm from in Virginia, there wasn't much Latin culture.
Hmm.
And there was some friends of mine that had a really great salsa band, but there wasn't a real community like there was in New York.
Hmm.
So when I moved to New York, that was really when I kind of really started to get educated on with from learning from Latino musicians from
Hmm. Hmm.
Mexico, Colombia, and around 2007 or so, these two owners of a really great club here in Brooklyn, New York, called Barbez.
Hmm.
Um, and they're French. They're both from Paris, but they're huge, what we like to call Latino files when it comes to
Yeah.
really, really knew a lot of
Uh-huh.
different styles in South America. And I think
Nice.
the way the story goes is Olivier Conan, who's one of the owners and the singer and cuatro player in Chicha Libre, was somewhere in Lima and heard this amazing music in the taxi he was in, and he asked, the driver, like, "What? I've never heard this. How do I not know about this music?"
Hmm.
And it was, of course, it was probably like Waneko Isu Combo or one of these classic chicha bands,
Hmm.
from the 70s. And so he came back with a mission and kind of recruited a few of us to really start to cover a lot of these. We started looking around and found there was no bands, at least up here, that were playing that style. The style we liked, which was that sort of late 60s, early 70s type of the music that was coming out of Lima and Iquitos and places like that,
Hmm.
in that period. And so we started what we eventually would call Chicha Libre, and that's really when I started on the
Oh.
journey that I'm on right now. And through Chicha Libre is really when I got to learn the music, got to start playing with some really great deep musicians from Mexico and Venezuela, and really kind of learn the rhythms and where they come
Cool.
from.
Yeah.
And then that group sort of split up. I mean, we're not really officially split up. We're sort of on a hiatus. We did reform right before the pandemic,
Hmm.
locked down to play a few shows. This is Chicha Libre. But since we love the music and wanted to continue, myself and another member of the band, Neil Ochoa, who plays congas, he's from Venezuela. He and I wanted to continue some version of this. And so we formed with myself and Neil with Jose Luis Pardo from the band Los Amigos Invisibles.
Hmm. Oh yeah, no, I know that band.
So we started jamming, and then we added another um, Venezuelan, Edward Marshall, on the bass, who was in his band. I'm trying to remember, called Muy Bestia Pop. I don't know if you remember that band.
No.
Anyway, so it became sort of the band, sort of the post Chicha Libre band. So, but because
Oh.
we had Cheo involved, who's disco funk pop, he's got a whole different sort of an angle. We kind of brought in disco and funk, and it's a little, it gets away from the like the real specific type of Chicha that was going on in Lima in the 70s. So it's a little bigger, a little broader. We do, we'll do a cumbia version of The Cure or something, like it's a little more poppy, I
Yeah.
guess.
Uh-huh.
Really great band, really really strong. It's become a really strong band live. It's a five-piece band.
Cool.
We have one record out called Psychedelic Disco Cumbia, which came out in 2019,
Mm-hmm.
and we just released a digital single this past month that you can find anywhere. Called the single is Isabella, and
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna be releasing a few singles here and there, and then try. When everything, of course, got kind of sidetracked with being on lockdown. So now that things are opened up and we're playing live again, I think we're gonna start try to work towards a second record.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, there's so much music out there for me because I was listening to your whole music with Campos, right?
Yes.
But I need to catch up with Loco Beach. Sounds very cool.
Beach. I think it's a different production style, but I mean it's a
Uh-huh.
really fun combination of all of us kind of bringing our own thing to
Uh-huh.
the band. It's I think it doesn't sound like it sounds, it's got its own sound, which I'm proud of.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm also curious because you mentioned this with one of the members of Los Amigos Invisibles. I remember that band from back in the day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they were big.
Yeah, they were big. Yeah, right. In the late 90s, maybe. Yeah.
Late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah, I remember them also NTV and stuff like that. Uh-huh. Very cool. So, what's coming up next? What are you up to?
Oh, let's see what's coming. Well, I think I mentioned I'm just finished this second studio record for C.A.M.P.O.S.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully
Second studio.
spring. Um, and yeah, Loco Beach. Now that we're back and playing out regularly, I think we're developing some new tunes. So, but there'll definitely be within the next month or two a Loco Beach single coming out for sure. So keep an eye on for that.
Cool.
We haven't quite nailed down when we're gonna do it, when we're gonna release it, but it'll happen within the next few months. And let's see what else. Cumbia wise, I mean, here, I of course would love. It's just a little hard to travel internationally at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
These projects, but I would love to. I mean, we definitely have some ambition with Logo Beach and and C.A.M.P.O.S as well to play to try to get down to South America, Central
Sure.
America.
Have you traveled here around here, South America?
I've only as Chicha Libre. I played in Colombia many times,
Mm-hmm.
Argentina, Chile,
Oh, so you've been to Colombia.
Mexico. Yeah. Um, and but these newer projects. I mean, obviously, the pandemic has sort of sidetracked a lot of that stuff. So, there were some plans to try to get some South American gigs, and yeah, obviously that we'll have to start over with that process. But we definitely want to get it out to as many people as we can at both projects.
Mm-hmm. Sounds amazing. And you also have another project, Westwork. Are you still
Doing all the research.
yeah, which is totally different?
It's very different, yeah. So my other, I mean, like I mentioned at the beginning, I've kind of moved around a lot of different genres over the years.
Yeah.
It's almost a bad it's a bad habit.
Yeah.
I get very passionate about it. Why am I not playing that music? And
Yeah.
down that rabbit hole. Um, because I'm from Virginia, country music is very big where I'm from.
Yeah.
Kind of part of my whole background and heritage. I have family
Yeah.
going back, living in the mountains, and where a lot of country and bluegrass music comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a kind of return to that. I had been in bands prior to moving to New York in country bands, and was like to write and sing country music,
Mm-hmm.
or Americana sometimes it's called.
Yeah.
And so this is So I've put together a really fun quartet to play some of my country music Americana songs.
Cool.
And yeah, so totally different, but not this. At the same time, there are a lot of similarities. It's like working class. It's a lot about stories of struggle and heartbreak, and I think those are pretty similar. Those are pretty universal themes.
Yeah, that you also played on campus, for example.
In terms of genre, like I remember we used to do in Chicha Libre, I used to do the song El Borachito, which is such a
Yeah.
just translate it into a country song, yeah, no one would even notice. It's such a
Oh, really? Cool. Yeah, I like the names of your songs. Also, some of them are pretty cool.
yeah.
El Capitalista 72, 72. Yeah. I really like. You even have one with a German name, no? Deutsche Klave. Die
Oh yeah.
Klave.
I think
Yeah.
well, some of my little, my little, what would you call them, postmodern experiments. I like to think, what if Kraftwerk had been, hanging out in
Oh,
Savannah, and like
yeah. That's a really cool thought. Yeah, I mean, I'm also a huge
like a
fan of
thought,
Kraftwerk.
I have another tune like that. That's like, if you listen to it, it's Trans Europe Express.
Uh-huh.
Like, what if they were hanging out in,
Yeah.
Vallenato or whatever, and that's kind of that was the premise of some of those tunes.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, Miracles and Criminals. That's also very cool. I also like La Muerte Verde is also pretty cool. Pretty nice track.
Thank you.
Yeah, you have so many songs. So
Yeah, I'm prolific.
yeah,
Oh, this
cool.
lockdown has made, that's all we had to do. So there's also that.
Yeah, that's very cool. You're doing something creative.
Writing and then record a video, and that's how you found me, really.
Yeah, and did you also start posting a lot during this time? Are you new to Instagram, or were you always kind of on social media and stuff?
I was always, but I'm certainly not posting like I was. I mean, I'm even right now, I'm not posting like I was 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Just because now I'm actually out playing shows out in the world. Things, at least in New York, have opened up a little bit for musicians. So we're out. I
Mhm.
was this last weekend. I was in Kansas City playing for an Oktoberfest, playing polka music for an Oktoberfest.
Cool.
So, which is great because that means we're working, but it means less time I can, do these posts. But I'll definitely continue to do them. It's really fun to do.
Yeah, yeah. I enjoy your videos absolutely. Do you mind? Would you like to play something now, maybe, so we can end the show?
Sure. I mean, on your end, you're gonna play something?
Yeah,
You,
yeah,
you want me to play something?
yeah. If you want to play something, yeah, before we end the show today.
Oh, I see. You mean like play?
Are you all set up? I don't know, some accordion or
I
anything.
could grab my accordion and just play a little bit.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah,
Hear that?
yeah. I love the accordion. We can
Take a
listen to.
second.
And did you? I had one more question before we go.
Okay, I'm back with my accordion.
Okay, cool. Did you actually have any psychedelic experiences when you were in Colombia, for example?
Oh, like a ayahuasca or something?
Yeah. Did you take any of those?
I have not done the ayahuasca ceremony. I mean, I've certainly dabbled in the
Uh-huh.
other psychedelics like mushrooms and
Yeah.
LSD and things like that.
Mhm.
So I am familiar with the experience, but I've never had the real, the ayahuasca experience, which I'd love to at some point. But yeah, it's certainly a big part. I mean, psychedelic music and just the whole sort of mind expanding thing is such a great vehicle for creativity. I know it sounds kind of vague, but
Yeah.
just as someone who grew up with Pink Floyd and
Yeah. Yeah.
things
Did you
all,
grow up listening to that kind of music?
absolutely,
Pink
yeah,
Floyd and stuff. Yeah.
that stuff, and
Yeah.
it was, and it's a way to kind of incorporate more, for lack of a better term, more experimental types of music into pop
Yeah.
music. It's
Yeah.
really the
Yeah.
most sort of sonically adventurous
Mm.
part of the rock music world. So it's always been what I've gravitated towards because there's just less rules, I guess, in terms of
Mhm.
you can really do a lot of different things and call it psychedelic. It's just an umbrella almost of a lot of interesting,
Sure.
these, groups in Lima in the 70s who were psychedelic to, what Jimi Hendrix was doing or what Pink Floyd,
Mhm. Yeah.
or Santana, or, it's all, it's like a big, large umbrella term for what I would consider pop or rock music that
For a lot of
it allows for more experimentation.
for a lot of different styles. Yes, for sure, for sure. But I have always asked myself, like, uh, is it possible to make that kind of music sober?
Oh, I think so.
Like,
need to be. I mean, in fact, I mean, I've had a lot of great psychedelic experiences, but I
Yeah.
don't to write or even. It's only later that
Yeah.
it kind of, it just kind of kickstarts the brain, and then later, 2 or 3 weeks later,
Uh-huh.
from that experience, like, oh, okay, yeah, I kind of had that thought when I was under the influence.
Okay.
I'm not
Mhm.
one of the people that could really perform or write in that state. I don't think. Because I played a lot, and I'm not sure that's what I want to do. But it certainly is an amazing experience to open up your mind and get out of your own ego, and it's all
Yeah,
It's a really important
for
thing.
sure.
Um,
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
should I-
All right. Yeah. Everybody go and check out Campos on Instagram, Joshua Camp. Thank you very much for being on the show.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it was fun. And now let's hear some accordion. I love it.
This is Cumbia del Zapatero.
Cumbia del Zapatero. All right. Oh, awesome. Great. Thank you so much. That was pretty cool.
Thank you so much, Ivan.
All right. Yeah, it was fun. So I'm going to stop right now the